Okay, so let's work on the pockets. The first thing we're going to do are the panels that are going to go inside. We don't need a full square, so we are just going to trim this blue paper here to 3.5 by 5 3/4. So we need 4 of that size. Now for the pocket panels, we need them to be 5 3/4 wide and 2 7/8 in width. So that would be how we would trim this. So we would go to 5 3/4, and then I'm going to trim each one of these out to 2 7/8. So here is the 3.5 by 5 3/4, and that will just tuck into the top part of the pocket with just a little bit of a green border all the way around. So just like so. It does extend a little bit down, so you don't have to worry about lining it up perfectly. And then the panel for the pocket is again 2 7/8 by 5 3/4, and that is just going to get affixed like that. So I'm going to glue all 4 of these down. Okay, so here are what each of the little pocket panels look like. I think they turned out super cute, and I really like the snow on the top. It just kind of makes it look like the sky, even though the scale's off. Okay, so the next thing we're going to work on are the slotted panels, and we are going to need the die again because we need the piece to trim out the stitched little panels. And I'm opting to go with almost a monochromatic look, just these will blend into each other, and that's because there's going to be items in here that are going to lay on top, and so I just kind of want this to fade into the background. So I am going to trim this down to 6 inches and start cutting. I should be able to get 6, I think, out of half a sheet. So that is my next step. So I trimmed out the pattern paper, and I kept them in sequential order so that the pattern order so that the pattern extended all the way down. I am just going to do exactly the same as what I did with the pockets, as I'm just going to fold the score lines inwards towards the back. And you don't have to do this step, but I think I'm going to do this step. And that is, I think I'm going to put a backer on this pocket like I did with the pocket panels. Here's the reason why. So this would be the normal panel it would go on, right? So it would affix like this. But when you have it like that, there's a lot of edges in here that it could get caught on. Scratch that. Okay, so we're just going to fold that in like so on both panels. And then we are going to, in this case, adhere the tape to the outside. So unlike the other ones where we put it on the inside, in this case we are going to adhere the tape along the outside, and then we're just going to center it and place it on one of the 6 or 5 7/8 panels. Okay, so let me do that and then we will be back. Okay, I actually changed my mind. I did not center it. I actually centered it width-wise, but moved it down further. That way I have a little bit more clearance on here in order for stuff that I'm going to put in this pocket. Now, if you want to make these into individual pockets, you could adhere some glue or adhesive along the bottoms of each of these. My plan is to have the inserts start small and get bigger, and so they'll all tuck in here all the way through to the bottom. So those are the 2 pocket panels, and that leaves us with just 2 panels that we're going to do some tip-ins with. For this panel I have this stocking, and on this one the plan is to add this tree one. Now this one is a little bit large, so I will have to trim this off. And I will talk about the tip pins here in a second. But what we need is a 5 3/4 pattern, or 5 3/4 square to fill the green panel. And we're just going to trim one out of this one and one out of that one. So I've got my base panel, my cardstock panel that's going to go on top of that. Then I'm going to have my tip in. You need to make, well, I'm not going to give you the measurements for these because it depends on what the cards are that you chose. You want the panel, the green panel, to be 1/8 of an inch bigger around all the sides, and then 1/2 inch Okay, and then what I did out of the coordinating the same pattern, I cut one so that we get the same on the other side. So basically this side will be covered just like this one. And for this one, again, the size is different, so you need to make sure you cut it accordingly. So we just have a little bit of a border, and this piece is going to go on the back side. So let me adhere these together, and this together, these together, and that together, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, so you'll notice that I did the panels or the tip ends in opposite directions, and that's because I want one to align on this side and open this way, and then I want this one to open on this side like that. Okay, so how do we attach that? We're going to use our double-sided tape again, and we're just going to affix some tape along the inside fold of each of these. And this one is pretty much going to line up with the edge of the pattern paper. So I just want to make sure that that's where that is. And then we're going to give that a good push. Press, yeah. And it'll open like that. So we got another panel done. And this one's just going to have a very slight border on the top and bottom. Now we need to talk about the back and front. Okay, so we got the standard panel like we've done for all the other ones. I trimmed the Santa Claus out to 5 3/4, so he will mat on there perfectly. Now I did not like the way this looked, and so I'm using that foiled paper for the backing and the spine, and so what I thought we would do is just add that on top, so it would still have the green mat, but then this around here, and I might do a ribbon or something to kind of tie that together. That's the cover page. I have a 1 7/8 by 5 7/8. That is for the 2-inch spine, and then I took it down 1/8 of an inch to get the mat, so that's a spine. And then the spine on the other side is 1.5 inches wide, so this would be 1 3/8 inches, and this would be 1.25 inches. And then we've got the back panel and the 5 3/4 mat. So let me glue all of these down, and then I think we have all the base panels done. So I added some gold washi to just kind of fix that seam. I really like how that looks. I don't think I'm quite finished with this yet. I would like to add something dimensional and a label or something somewhere. Same with this spine. I think I have some Christmas charms somewhere I want to go and see if I can find. I think it'd be kind of fun to have them dangle off the spine. So these two pieces I'm going to put aside, but all the other panels that we put together earlier and the back and the smaller spine we can affix. So I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive to all of the backs of these, and we'll get gluing. Okay, let's get adhering. The back panel is going to be, so this is the back side, this is going to be the front cover, and then you've got your 2-inch spine and then your back cover. So this is going to go there. I am using directional paper, so I need to make sure that the words are correct. And for added security, I am going to add some liquid glue just to make sure everything sticks nice and well. And flip this the right way. And hopefully I did all my math correct and cut everything correctly. Okay, as I mentioned, we're going to leave the spine and we're going to leave the front cover for later. So we're going to flip this over and we're going to start on the first panel. And I've got these in the order that I want. So I want the flip up in this one to flip out. I don't want the one that flips into the book. You could, I think it just works better if it's on the outside. just my own preference. You can also do top flips too. I haven't done any yet. I'm not saying I won't, because we still have a few inserts to do, but for right now I just have the 2 tip-ins on the side. Again, just like the other ones, I am going to add some glue. Make sure this is going in the right direction. And I do have a little tiny white border all the way around that. Okay, just like so. And I'm going to continue all the way down, gluing these in, just as I showed you, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've glued all the panels down. The only thing I have left, besides of course the front cover and the 2-inch spine, is the 1.5-inch spine, and that is right next to the back panel on the left-hand side. So we're just going to peel off the adhesive for that. I don't have much space, but I'm still going to add a little bit of liquid glue. Okay. So this is what the book is looking like so far. So of course you can imagine that this is going to be the front cover when we're all said and done. This is going to flip open. We've got the tip in here. I think I will cover this sheet here, or this spine here. The person who I've got was inspired by, she doesn't normally cover those, but I think because it's so wide, I'm doing them wider than she does, I think I'm going to cover them. I think it's just going to look better. Here's one of the pockets. It's going to flip open again, and we are going to have the other pocket pages, the staggered pocket, and then that's going to open, and we've got these ones followed by this one, and then the last tip in. It's really hard to show on camera when the final tip in. I think also adding some layers in here will help with the stability of this, because the spines are a little bit floppy. Of course, the book is not nearly as full as it's going to be, right? So we still have a lot more layers to put in here, plus this spine needs to be added. So you can see I've got lots of room.